My name is Francesca Pizzo, and I'm Annie Pizzo's grandmother, Nonna, and I met her when she was born.
Okay, Nonna. What was your first memory as a child?
My first memory as a child, we were up in the mountains. We had a summer house up there, and we were playing with my brother. For toys, we use shells from escargot. The escargot shells, we use those like animals. And that was our playtime.
Okay. What is the oldest relative you remember?
My grandmother. My grandmother, she lived to be 92. And as far as I can remember, she's the oldest that that I haven't met.
Okay. How did your parents meet?
My parents met through her sister's husband. She had a sister named Rosita, which was Rose, and her husband was cousin to my dad, and they were introduced by them. That's how they met.
Okay, so you were not born in this country. Tell us, where you were born.
I was born in a little town called Cinisi. It's in Sicily, Italy. It is the province of Palermo, a small town, but right on the ocean. And the background is the mountains, and in front is the ocean. It's the most beautiful place you ever want to see.
Do you have any interesting stories about your town?
Oh, yes, there's many. Many stories.
How about the one about,
Which one? Biriña?
Yes. Yes, the story about Beninia.
Biriña was the, well, what would you call it, the town idiot? And she would like to come behind your door and cry. And people will come out and say, "Why are you crying, Biriña?" She wanted a little piece of cloth so she could roll it up like a ball. And one day she invited me to her house, and in her room the room was full of all these little balls. And her favorite thing was to roll them all up in knots, and then she would smell them. And then she'd throw them in a corner. But I mean, the room was full after a while. That was one of the funny ones.
So, tell me about your childhood home.
My childhood home was not very big. It was small. But it had 3 floors. And our kitchen happened to be on the 3rd floor. So naturally, I would come home starving. But by the time I got to the 3rd floor, I wasn't hungry anymore.
Okay, how did you meet your spouse? Is there any interesting story about you and your spouse?
Well, my spouse and I met when we were born. We're 18 days apart. And his mom and dad, being that he was a boy, they were showing off to my mother, saying that, "Look at my boy." And my mother looked at them and says, "Yeah, wait till you see my girl." And that's how we pretty much grew up together. But when I was 13, I came to this country, and he got left behind. But never forgotten. We would write to each other. And when we were both 22, we decided to get engaged and get married.
That's nice. Didn't he fly to this country
He keeps telling me that he took a chance on his life when he flew to come and find me. So I better be good to him.
Tell me about your wedding day.
I don't remember too much of my wedding day. All I remember is we had about 700 people in our reception. And on that evening, then we went to a hotel, and after that, we had to face the family. My mom had a big dinner on Sunday so that we could all see each other, and then we went to New York on a train because I was afraid to fly, so we took the train. And we went to New York. Right in New York Square. That was wonderful.
So, what was your favorite subject in school?
My favorite was history. I love history. And I like school. I like all of it, but most of it, history was my favorite.
Okay, how about the day when your first child was born? Your first child that was born was my father.
That's right. My son Joseph was born. That was the most wonderful day of my life. I agree. I finally had someone that he was all mine. He was my son, and I care for him. And I love the responsibility of being the mother. And of course, he was very much spoiled, but he grew up to be a pretty nice guy.
So you have 3 children. How about you say the names of all 3 of your children? They're Italian names, and then like what you call them in this country.
Okay, I have 3 boys. Wait a minute. I was blessed with 3 boys. My oldest is Giuseppe, which we call Joe. My second is Giacomo, which we call Jack. And my third is Salvatore, which we call Sal. I have the 3 boys, no girls. I was not blessed with a daughter. But I do have a wonderful daughter-in-law.
What a blessing she is.
And 3 granddaughters, which they are a big part of my life.
Okay, who are some of your heroes?
My heroes? Oh, Jesus is first. That's right. Yeah, he comes first. God is first. Blessed Mary is second. Both the same. Baby Jesus. But then it's my father. My father is my hero because he came to this country to bring us here, us 4 children, to have a better life. He sacrificed his life for us. He had no English at all. He had no training for any job. He had no home. He had nothing. All he had was us 4 children and my mother. And he took a chance and came to America, which he found a job and it took care of us. He is my hero. Yes, he is.
Okay, on another note, where were you when you heard about President Kennedy being shot?
Oh, dear God. I was working at Mercy Hospital in the office. And Mother Nathaniel at the time was the principal, whatever you want to call it. She was the head of the hospital there. She was the supervisor. And she came out and said they shot Kennedy. And we all started to cry. And from that moment on, we didn't move from the radio. Of course, we didn't have no TV there. But the radio, we didn't move from the radio listening, trying to see, you know, if he lived or died. And when he did die, we were all sick, just sick.
So, describe your first job.
My first job was in the kitchen at Mercy Hospital. I was a dishwasher, and I was 14 years old. I was going to school. I was working part-time and help with the chores at home because we all share the chores.
Okay. What did you do with your first paycheck?
My first paycheck, I gave it to my mom because she needed it to clothe us and feed us and pay for the rental. So we all worked and we all brought it home, where my mother, she makes sure that everything was paid.
What is your experience or opinion with computers?
I have no experience at all. Whenever anybody asks me for an email, I say I live in the Stone Age because I know nothing about it.
Okay, what is your favorite song?
My favorite song it's an Italian song. It's called Mamma. It's a song about a mother. It's a beautiful song. That's my favorite song.
How about books, movies, or television show?
Television shows. I like game shows. But my very favorite is Lifetime.
How about your favorite books? How about your favorite? Your favorite book?
My favorite book is An Affair to Remember. I read the book and then I saw the movie. I really like that.
Was the movie at Lifetime?
No, it wasn't. No, it's a classic. An Affair to Remember is a classic.
Okay.
Gone with the Wind. I like that too.
How about tell me places that you were the happiest. What are some places that make you really happy?
Kitchen. My kitchen. I'm the happiest when I'm cooking.
Well, we all agree.
When
Sit
I'm
down and
cooking for my family, that's when I'm happiest. When I have all my boys and their families at my home, in my table, that's when my husband and I are the happiest.
So what is your favorite dish to cook?
My favorite dish to cook? I have so many.
If you had to make one dish.
Oh, I love making lasagna and meatballs. That's one of the most authentic dinners that we have in Italy on Sundays. It would be pasta with meatballs made out of potatoes.
You guys made meatballs out of potatoes?
We made meatballs with potatoes, yes, because we couldn't get any meat at the time. So that was our favorite dinner then. Today I have many that, whatever my children, my boys and their families, whatever they ask for, I love to make.
Yes, it's sure yummy indeed. Okay, so what haven't we talked about that you'd like to discuss with the time we have left?
We haven't talked about, I don't know, we touched pretty much everything. The only thing I like to talk about, my grandchildren. I have 6 of them, 3 boys and 3 girls. And I pray every day that they stay safe and healthy. And whatever their dream is, it will be fulfilled.
Well, thank you, Nona. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Miss Meltzer. Thank you, Nona.
You're welcome. Are we going to listen to it now?
Yeah.